Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, I was watching this video today by Matt Colville, and he talks mostly about 5th edition D&D. I think maybe even exclusively, and he's talking about this house rule idea that I think Mike Merles is the guy's name came up with as an alternate initiative system for 5th edition D&D. And you know, I couldn't pick Mike Merles out of a lineup. I think I've seen pictures, and I kind of know who he is. And 5th edition D&D isn't necessarily my thing. I enjoy some of Matt's videos. But I'm looking at it, and I know Mike Merles did not make this up, because I have seen this idea before many times, as far as I remember. But this time it really clicked. I said, man, this is really, really neat. So I'm going to talk about this. I'll link Matt's video here, and I'm sure you can get all kinds of links to everything. But I'll give you the basic gist of it. So instead of, 5th edition D&D, they're talking about rolling D20s, and everybody, gets modifiers, and then that's your static place in initiative forever and ever, amen. So he's talking about a different system here where you roll initiative every single round, which is like what we normally do in old school games. Something this would be great for something like Lamentations of the Flame Princess, basic fantasy role-playing game, Swords and Wizardry, white box things, Iron Falcon, whatever. So here's how it works really, really fast. If you're going to make a ranged attack, use a D4 die. Lowest goes first, and so that the DM calls, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, who's got that number, until you finally run out of numbers. Like the last person say, okay, I'm the last one, all set, restart the round. So ranged weapons go on a D4. They go very, very fast. Something like melee weapons, use a D8. And then magic, you do any casting kind of spells where you roll a D12. It's going to take on average a little bit more time. The guy with a dagger could roll 4, and the guy with a 12 doing the spell could roll a 1, so it can go first. But on average, the guy with the casting spells is going to be a little bit slower. Then it talks about if you want to move 2, you roll a D6 plus your weapon die. But we move in old school D&D anyway, so that's a different story. However, it's up there. Let's see, D6 to do anything else. Things are kind of outside the box. Let's see, D8 for bonus action, which we don't do bonus actions in old school. D8 to swap gear, which is kind of cool. Like you're like, oh, I'm holding the wrong thing here. It's going to take a little bit of time before you get that one. So I like the numbers he assigned to him. Matt Colville made the excellent suggestion that, hey, why don't you, because I'm watching him already house rule this house rule, and I'm smiling in recognition that we're both inveterate house rulers, and birds of a feather, so to speak. But I like what he said, that hey, for melee, why don't you just make it based on the weapon type and not be a flat D8? Say the guy with a dagger gets to roll a D4 because they're quick. The guy with a long sword is rolling a D8. The guy with a short sword is rolling a D6. Maybe the guy with a two-handed sword is rolling a D10 because it takes a while to swing that thing. So, put their initiative that way. As far as monsters, I think, Mike Merles was saying, I don't care what Mike Merles says. Here, you can just apply, how quick or slow do you want this monster to be? And apply that particular die. And roll the dice. And there you have it. And every round you state what your action is going to be. You commit to that, and every round you re-roll initiative and see where it lands. I think that's pretty darn cool. I'm going to try that. I think in the next time I run an OSR game, and probably with a smaller group of people. I don't want to be doing it with a big party, because that'd be kind of a bummer. But for an individual initiative, it'd be kind of really cool. The other thing I was thinking of, he's talking about not using dexterity modifiers at all, which is great, because we don't use dexterity modifiers at all in all OSR. Well, when we're doing party initiative, when we roll individual initiative, we actually do. So I'm thinking, well, how would you do that? And I came up with 2 things. Number 1, I think I would change when you actually apply dexterity modifiers. This is actually ultra old school, where the ability scores have two different numbers attached to them, and not really complex. But the idea that in basic parlance, the ability scores from 13 to 15 is a +1, 16, 17 is +2, 18 is +3. I would say for purposes of this, maybe just have 16 and 17 be 1, make it change you by 1, and 18 would change you by 2, and likewise 4 and 5 would change you by -2, and 3 would change you by or -1. 3 would change you by -2. So have them, not be quite so your dexterity not be quite so influential on this. And why would I do that? Because I would think instead of adding or subtracting numbers to this initiative roll, why don't you step up or step down the dice? So in other words, if you're using a dagger and you've got an 18 dexterity, okay, we step down to D3, and then you step down to D2. You flip a coin, 1 or 2, or just call odds evens. Everybody, you should be able to figure out how to do a D3, kids. You roll a D6, you'll figure it out. And that way you don't end up in this odd situation where the guy with the 18 dexterity is using a dagger or using a bow, and he automatically gets a 1 every single time. So dexterity isn't instantly the god stat in this initiative thing, because anyhow, do it however you like. I think that's what I would do with it. But I think it's a pretty cool system. I really don't care where ideas come from, whether they come from 5th edition D&D who stole it from somebody else, because I wish I can remember where I saw this before. But I saw that today, and I'm like, man, that's really cool. I think I'm going to use that, So, yeah, another house rule, another cool way to do initiative. I'm really digging it. And so, yeah, I'll just go, I'll link the videos, and this video is already too long, but what the heck, Ranged, roll D4. Casting a spell, roll D12. Melee weapon, just roll the damage die. That's going to be your initiative die. Lowest goes first. Monsters, figure out how fast you want them to be. Roll a specific die. Do anything else, you roll a D6. You're switching things around, switching weapons or switching items, you roll a D8. And then if you have dexterity modifiers, well, leave them to like a plus or negative, 2 instead of plus or negative 3. If you use the brackets differently. And then step up or step down the dice. So I'm liking this idea. I'm liking it a lot.